do it the old-fashioned way. Nowadays it's all very modern, you know, they have stylish, but my customers seem to like the old-fashioned way. My mother started in 1929 in on Los Feliz Boulevard, you know, right there in Vermont and Hillhurst. It was just a stand. It's a bucket stand, you know. And for a while, I know my mother, well, every day, there was no business then. And the first time, you know, only $5 a day. Or in those days, the flower bunches, they were only 25 cents a bunch, 10 cents a bunch. Now, those little 25-cent bunches are 6.50 a bunch. I mean, it's much smaller. But anyway, that's the way it started. At first, of course, the business was very slow. New places and all that.
When did she change from having the flower stand to having the flower store?
Well, after little by little, they built it. As a matter of fact, it was the nicest store built there. It was with a nice chrome plywood and all that, you know. It was very nice. It was a huge place. I mean, the whole, well, the storefront, and then we had one side was all green stuff. It was like there was all these steps up there with all the plants, you know. That was maybe 34th. I'm just guessing. I don't know.
So that's the year you graduated from high school.
Summer 34, I graduated.
What was it called, the store?
It was Tokio for same. And we still had the same phone number.
Yeah,
664-8010.
Okay, wow.
It was Tokyo Florist. Of course, we lived right there. We had a nice home. It was a small home, but it was Mrs. Mead's. She owned most all of that property on Los Feliz. And anyway, that's a home. That's a house that we lived in. It was 4537 and 4555. Those are the two addresses as I remember. But we've been there, you know, from 29 till the war, you know, before the war, see, or when the war started.
When did you move over to this location?
It's about good 40. My daughter wrote in the cement there. About 40. My husband said 37 years. Maybe it's 37 years. I keep thinking it's 40 something.
Was your mother?
Yeah, my mother, we all put our money together, and you know, and then at that time we had to pay this off first, which we didn't have enough money, but we put a down payment on this, and in order to build a shop in the front, you know, you have to pay the property this off first. So we had to move from Los Feliz in 1 month. That's all they gave us to move out. So we just dragged in everything we could, and that's the way it is to this day. My father was never a florist. It was my grandparents. My mother's parents. My grandfather was, he's always been. Grafting. And when we used to live in Los Feliz in Vermont there, that's the big yellow house that we used to live in. My grandparents were growing flowers there, see, wholesale.
How often do you go to the market?
Well, 2 times, sometimes 3 times, it depends. But we have a lot of things growing up the hill. So I don't have to really go to, quite often.
What do you have growing on the hill?
Well, right now we have the poppies. It's called the champagne bubbles, the Iceland poppy. And we have the Canterbury bell. And a hybrid delphinium. And then we have blossom, peach blossoms, and the quince, flowering quince. And a lot of my customers like casual things in the garden, so that's the way it is. We have odds and ends here and there. They like that.
How do you make decisions about what flowers to grow and what flowers to buy?
Well, it depends on the order. And then I have regular customers that come, and I know just what they would like. And then if there's something like a big order, they call in ahead of time. Then I know just what to buy.
How did you learn about flowers?
I don't know. We were all grown up with flowers, see, ever since we were small.
So when did you start helping out with the flowers?
Oh, that's after my mother bought this place. Not bought it, but, from Los Feliz.
What kinds of things would you do?
Oh, we had to learn how to clean the flowers and pick off dead leaves and stuff like that, and then start making arrangements. We all have to help her. Yeah. Yeah, we did. My sister, corsages, this, funeral. So, my mother Yeah, she worked hard.
Well, she must have been very unusual because she was just a woman and she had her own business and she wasn't.
But the holiday time, my sister, this is my sister, the two of us, we used to stay up almost all night making things. That's how things were. In those days, Easter time, just about every woman had corsages. In those were the hat and glove days. See? So they all wore that to church. Yeah, we used to stay up almost all night making corsages. Yeah, so when I was going to high school, no sooner, school's over, I'd go straight home and help my mother, and that was it. So I really didn't have any kind of a social life. Even the football game and all that, I don't know. I know she needed me home, so right after school, I'd carry your books and go home. Yeah, so I really had no time for any kind of thing like that, No dancing, no. So that's the way we were brought up. The only time, so when I graduated high school, and my mother bought the material, and it was a pastel gowns in those days, pastel gowns, and we carried roses of it was a peachy color rose because coral and white was our color, and we all sat on the stage at the Greek Theater, and we walked down arches of flowers, from the top down up to the stage. And anyway, after that, I thought my mother would have a nice cake for me and that, but no, I was put to work right away. I had to help her. And I was sad for some time, but then I said, oh, well, I said, that's part of life. I had to help Mama, so that was that. Yeah. I didn't go to the prom, no. I stayed home because my mother, she needed help, so I stayed home, And I wasn't even asked. Well, there weren't very many Japanese fellows anyway, see. In those days, it was a little bit touchy, see. If it's Japanese, you go to Japanese, and so, my grandmother was very particular about that. So, okay, that's the way it was.
Who were your customers? Like, what type of people were your customers?
They were all very nice customers. They lived around. And then, what's that filmmaker? DeMille. He was a nice man. He lived on DeMille Drive. We used to have wonderful customers like Greta Garboy. She used to come. Yeah, and this, where the chauffeur drove, it's open, and she sat in the back. And she was a beautiful, soft-spoken, beautiful person. And she used to buy just armfuls of sweet peas from us. And we had quite a few people like that. And then, of course, there's Olivia de Havilland. And she's starting on that Gone with the Wind. They used to live on Nella Vista. She ate her mother and her sister. And there's Lily Pons. She also lived on Cummings with Andre Castellanes. That was her husband, see. And she was an opera singer. And we used to take flowers to Hollywood Bowl, and things like that. Yeah, we've had a lot of nice customers.
What was that like growing up in Los Feliz back then? It must have been very different.
It was very nice. There weren't so many cars. As a matter of fact, across the street, that was called the Willard's Chicken House then. And that was a vacant lot there, so we used to grow sweet peas there. So, but big bundle of sweet peas, we used to walk back and forth along Sweet Boulevard. Now you take You can't do that, Take your life in it.
Were there a lot of other Japanese Americans around Los Feliz then?
Well, there's one on near Western Avenue, there's the Flowerview Gardens, Mrs. Kurumi. She was the first one that started on Los Feliz Boulevard. She's gone now. She was really a nice person.
Did you have to go to Japanese school after school?
Yeah, we did before we moved out here.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it was in San Fernando. They had the Japanese language school. So every Saturday, yeah. I was supposed to go back to Japan to live, but see, I went to Japan right before the war, which I didn't know that the war was going to start. That was after I graduated high school. I took my father's ashes back there, to be in the family grave. And not only the family grave, my aunt took me to Kyoto, to different places to place some of that, But the family grave is small, but they're all there. So my aunt said, "Oh, they're all happy now." I was taught the etiquette of Japan. Japanese etiquette, to be a lady. So there's the tea ceremony, and then your flower arrangement. And I couldn't sew, so I said, no, that's not for me. In those days, when I was there, the young girls had to make their own trousseau. In other words, my aunt taught etiquette. And I was taught the koto. It was nice. I love koto. Because my aunts, they're all in that uppity up. And then even the little kids knew how to read. They just read. I didn't see. I don't know how. I said, oh my gosh, I'm just like an imbecile. I could never do that.
In Japanese, you couldn't go back
No. And then one of my aunts, she worked in the Imperial Palace, and she was really uppity up. Even the way she spoke is all the very elite. But this is the emperor's, the old emperor's wives. She wanted to see me because I was from America. Well, before that, my aunt said, no, you have to relearn your manners first, how to walk, how to hold your hands, and all of that. So one day I was able to go there and meet her. But it was beautiful. It was beautiful there. And, they talk, the language that they speak is altogether different. But this other aunt that I stayed with, she said, just bow. She said, don't say anything, just bow.
Did you enjoy being in Japan?
For a while, it took me about 4 or 5 months to get used to it, But after it was nice. But then everything, as I thought myself, I couldn't know. It's beautiful and all, but here I don't know. I want to be free.
How long were you there for in Japan?
2 years.
2 years.
And then the American consul says, I better get home.
Oh, they told you?
Yeah. I said, why? No, he said, you better get home.
What did they tell you?
No, he just told me I better get home.
You said you came back to the U.S. shortly before the bombing of Pearl Harbor.
I came home on the last ship that came into Wilmington. It's a brand new Yawata Maru.
Where were you when you heard about Pearl Harbor?
We were in Los Feliz.
How did you react?
Well, it was a shock, It was a shock. I couldn't believe it. See? And I said, gee whiz. Now what, But I thought, well, even then, the government, we were American citizens, so they're responsible, Anyway, it was a kind of a panicky thing, It was a big shock. War started. And then we had to be evacuated. And Dr. Thompson and Dr. Anderson, they really helped us out. Matter of fact, during the war, when we were interned, he took my 2 grandparents into, the Burbank Hospital. He built that. And in the basement, that's where he took my grandfather and grandmother there. And then the soldiers, they said they're enemy aliens. So they came with the guns and the army truck and everything, and so they had to be taken out from there, you know. That's when the doctor says, oh, he felt so bad, he says. He really felt bad. But anyway.
I was wondering if you could retell a story you told us before, which was about your grandfather and when you came out of camp. Like when you
My grandfather, all right, this is in Manzanar, going back to Manzanar. This is the year that we can come out. So, my uncle drove, yes. My uncle, I think my uncle and I had my grandfather lying in the back. I don't know how we got the car though. And later on, the family came out, and then the house and all had to be all cleaned up and all. You know, it was all dusty and all. It was all, what you call it, boarded in. See, they helped us, you know, open up all that, and then we had beautiful Japanese garden, but that was all. It was all, what would you call it? The pagoda things are all broken, and the bridge was still there, but was half broken. I mean, it was all the vandalism, you know, vandalized. So anyway, but the roses and a few other things were flowering there. So anyway, my grandfather was ill. My grandfather was lying in bed. There was roses out there, so I cut this. It's an orange rose, which is a beautiful rose, and it was partly open, you know. So, and the second day it opened a little bit further. He said, he looked at it and he said, "Oh," he says, "you remember that rose?" He says, "Kire, kire," and that means beautiful. And then the following day, he just went to sleep. He just went to sleep. Yeah.
What's your favorite flower?
My favorite flower, I don't know. I like everything. I like just about every flower. There isn't a flower I don't like. Yeah. I like casual flowers, like daisies, simple flowers, poppies, you know. Several years ago, my friend, we went to Sequoia for the first time. And at that time, the dogwoods, they were just blooming all over the place. You know, that's why they have the huge trees. Gee, it was like heaven. And that, I thought, oh, that's great. It's beautiful. We were there for about 4 days. And within the 4 days, the whole meadow just filled with that wild shooting star, just all in flowers. That's how heavenly. That was gorgeous. That I love.
That's about it.
Oh, okay. They called, you know.
End of the season.
All right. You know that card up there, the Inas? Can you put that on this one?
Okay.
I'll put this in here, this, So what else should I put in here? Sure, it's one point there, okay. Can you put on a green? Or put on a, just to put a big bow on here, on a, what color? Hot pink? Yeah. Or yellow?
Spray for $100. All right. And how did you want to pay for it? Do you want to come into the card or do you want me to bill you? Or you could send us a check.